What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again, we're sitting here answering your questions with
Gershwin.
another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below, put question in front of your question, because we get to those questions first. That is what Skywalker Rock did. He asks, what's the biggest self-contradiction or plot hole in Warhammer 40K lore?
This always, like, when you think of plot holes and things that don't make sense in 40k, the one thing that I always think about is chaos. Apparently, chaos has always been and always will be, but if they were always there, why is there births of, like, Khorne and births of, like, Slaanesh when they should have already been there from the beginning of things?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, in order to have Slaanesh be birthed, you've had to have the Eldar come to their pinnacle, but obviously that takes time, and it's like time. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is kind of hard to wrap your mind around.
Right, because Chaos Gods are. It says that they're timeless beings. Like, time doesn't affect them. There is no time in the warp, but then it is weird.
Yeah, and because a lot of you guys have said, like, oh, Nurgle was birthed during the Black Plague.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no. It does say that in the fantasy 40k or Warhammer lore. But because of the timeless nature of the warp, that's not true, but it is true, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Hard to understand. I think my biggest complaint about the lore is... the Emperor not really just not telling Horus and not letting the other Primarchs know, hey, I'm doing this because of this. I think they try to hide it nowadays. They try to hide that plot hole of, like, the Emperor just being dumb by saying that, like the Thunder Warriors, the Primarchs and the Space Marines are going to become obsolete and they were going to let humanity rule. But I don't know. I don't buy it.
Yeah. I actually went into, like, a little in-depth about what the Emperor did right, what he did wrong. I think I did, like, a top 3 things the Emperor did right, top 3 things the Emperor did wrong. Check those out, because as much as everybody praises the Emperor, how he's perfect, he's not.
It's false.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, don't... he's done a lot of good, but I think he's done more harm than good.
Word.
Palabra de Dios.
Next question comes from Brian B. What do you think we've already answered that one.
Gideon Kreider. Would you be interested in GW making semi-canon what-ifs? Like a story of the Horus Heresy being successful? Or what if the Necrons all woke up at once?
No, I don't like that. Oh, sorry.
Stuff like that.
No, I don't like that.
I like what-ifs?
Yeah, I don't like what-if scenarios. Unless you're going to go full, like, comic book and say there's a multiverse. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't want a multiverse for 40k. It's just, that's kind of annoying. Like, it works perfect for Marvel. It works perfect for DC. I think for 40k, though, don't do that. I don't have an answer why. I just don't feel like...
I feel like there's already enough going on.
Yeah.
You don't need the supplements, because... In my opinion, I'd say, why focus your energy on these what-ifs when you could just progress the story?
That's
or,
true.
like, answer, like, what a freaking Primarch actually is. Like, what constitutes... Like, what's actually meant to create a Primarch? Like, why are only some of them perpetuals? Why do they have these gene deficiencies and stuff like that?
Vitamin B.
Yeah, it's gotta be vitamin D.
Yeah. Next question comes from Robbie. Why doesn't the Imperium grow Space Marines from babies, like the Uruk-hai orcs?
Those are fantasy orcs, or Age of Sigmar orcs.
They are born from birth sacs from the Lord of the Rings. So the reason that Space Marines don't go through that process is because that's not how the gene seed works. The gene seed has to be placed on a male body going through puberty. Sometimes it could be after puberty. Mm-hmm. So you can't put it into a fetus, though. The Emperor did not design it that way.
That's why it's so like perverse with the whole, what's it called? That thing that the what was it, the Iron
Demon
Warriors?
Kulaba?
The Demon Kulaba, yeah.
Yeah, the Chaos Gods try to do something like that. It's pretty disgusting. Check out our 40 facts on the Demon Kulaba. It's gross.
It is gross.
It's gonna make you puke.
But Halloween's right around the corner.
So you guys want to puke?
Halloween.
Drink a bunch of milk and then watch that video. Next question comes from Super Flus. Why did only the negative emotions create gods in the warp? That's an amazing question, and it's a question that's going to have me dive deep into my theory that, so the raw emotions, the very first emotions that any child feels are the negative emotions that come from pain. So like anger, frustration, lust, all that kind of stuff. And they're the first thing, they're like the go-to things, and they're easy to attain. Whereas like other emotions like happiness and joy and things like that kind of have to be worked into like the human mind. And I think that is what is happening in the timeline of the warp. I know we've talked about how the Immaterium is timeless, but at the same time it's not, because I feel that from the very beginning, when the old ones in the Necron tier were using the warp or existed within the warp, it slowly has been picking up to the point where like the negative emotions catch on, create the Chaos Gods, and now we're at the point where the positive emotions are going to start to come into play, and those positive emotions are going to be the Emperor coming into himself as a god. But that theory might change. I hope that answers it. Next question.
This one's by Jacob App. Do you think we will ever see a new Primarch be introduced? Not the Lost Primarchs, but an actual new Primarch?
No.
Even if the Emperor came back and was like healthy and everything was good, I don't think he'd make more Primarchs. I think he'd just focus with what he has now. Maybe try to find ways, like other ways to combat the threat of chaos. But I don't think they'd make a new Primarch. Because then it'd be like the Primaris Primarch.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have like good sales. Because like I would much rather buy Sanguinius or Guilliman than buy a generic Primarch.
Because then you're just giving it that to like every other Space Marine chapter.
Yeah. Next question comes from Random Clips. Can Dark Eldar torture machine spirits? Yes. They can, it's AI, so like, they can like do things that would cause the AI to feel stress.
It's like they're clicking Control, and then they click Alt, and then they hover above Delete.
But they never press it?
Yeah, that's torture.
Next question.
Mr. Mercury, will we ever see your guys' legs? Do you even have legs? Do I have legs?
No.
We don't have legs because it's replaced with hunger.
Hunger. You just see like a cloud of hunger as we go. We're like genies in a bottle. Minus Will Smith. Next question comes from Tyler Blaze.
Go ahead. I got a good one.
Has any other race or maybe heretical faction tried to make knockoff Space Marines or something similar to that? Yes. So the Necrons actually tried to make knockoff Space Marines. They were called Pariahs. That didn't work out.
That didn't work out so bad that it's not even part of the lore anymore.
Yeah, and then Tyranids tried to do that. That's where the
Hive Guard?
Yeah, that's them. And then Chaos Space Marines. Yeah.
First of all, hilarious name. Grandma did anal.
Probably, right?
His question is, How much does Gershwan hate the stupid for the greater intro that the alchemist clearly came up with?
I don't think you can.
I don't know.
So the Greater Wall intro was actually brought up by you guys. So we're doing it because of you guys. And then it really always gets people to comment both positive and negative. And YouTube doesn't care what the comment is. They just care that it is a comment. So we kept it because of that. And because it's kind of fun to go, wah!
I mean, he likes doing that.
Yeah.
Because orcs, wah! For the greater good, Tau.
Yeah.
Those are like our primary army.
Primary army.
Primaris army.
Yeah, but I usually have less enthusiasm because I am just generally a less enthusiastic person than the Sound Alchemist. Half the time I'm sleepy when we film these, or slightly hungover. I'm both today. Next question.
It says Gershwan doesn't eat and lift right, and he blames it on genetics.
No, well, I definitely don't eat right. Or go. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, but I wouldn't get like, I wouldn't look like Arnold. Just genetically, I couldn't.
Austrian?
Yeah. Because it's just like, that's not me. Next question. This one comes from Ty Shingleton.
Go ahead.
Does the Imperium know about or recognize the active loyalists who died on Isfan 3? Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't there like a day to like remember, like a remembrance day or something like that? I thought I read.
Yep. I don't know what it's called, but yes. And there's, I think they're called plinths on Terra, commemorating all the legions and stuff like that.
I like that word. Plinth.
Plinth. And last question.
Oh, we did this one already.
As my stomach growls. This one comes from...
Oh, you have one? Or...
No, go ahead.
This one's by Reject X7. If demons are a piece of their chaos god, how come some of them have their own personality?
Well, it's just like you. You have different personalities depending on who you're hanging around with.
Nature versus nurture.
So like, yeah, think about, technically your child is going to be a part of you, but he's not going to have the same personality as you. You probably aren't into the same things that your dad is into. He's all into sports and stuff, and you're into this this hobby where you sit around a table and push around miniatures.
But before that, you were into summoning Exodia and ruining kids' lives.
Yeah. And those are the questions for today. I hope your parents are happy for you guys.
That's why you wear a lip ring.
This was Gershwan.
I'm probably going to get beat up later. Sound Alchemist signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.